This is John Abrahams from House of Wax, The Faculty, and Scary Movie, and you're listening to the Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Podcast. Stay right here, or die.
In a world where zombies, ghosts, serial killers, and vampires all exist, it's Nico, Brian, Mike, and Dustin, and they are all that stand between you and the films that could end the world. Welcome to the Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Podcast.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Podcast. Just want to thank all of our fans and listeners. Really appreciate the support. You guys are awesome. Before we get into tonight's film review, just want to give a quick shout out to our website, don'tgoouthere.com. Everything about our podcast is on the website. All of our episodes and interviews, if you want to check those out. We've done some incredible interviews in the past. Go check them out there in a specific tab by themselves so you don't have to scroll through hundreds of episodes on Apple or Spotify, etc. We also have our store if you want to grab a shirt, a mouse pad, a hat, all that good stuff. We'd love to see your pictures, rep your favorite podcast. And Shan's Etsy page is also attached if you want to grab a tumbler. All of our social media links are on there as well. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Like us, subscribe us, follow us, all that good stuff. And the last thing I want to shout out on our website is our Patreon. We call it Blood Donors. We have the traditional monthly reoccurring kind. If you want to support us, help us pay the bills, as we say. Or if there's a movie you want us to review, that option is available as well. Just check out our website, don'tgoouthere.com. Also, if you haven't noticed, we've recently joined the Believe Network. So there's some ads on our program now. But if you want ad-free content, go check us out on Blood Donors. The ad-free episodes will be available there. We appreciate your support. We hope you enjoy the episode. All right, guys, jump to the film review. We continue on with Dustin's horror comedy month. I'm happy with this pick. This was a really refreshing one. Mike, go ahead and announce your pick, brother.
Yeah, man. So when he did announce horror comedy month, I had a couple choices in mind, and I'm not going to lie, full transparency. I think I may have already said this. They were all scary movies. So I was going to pick one of these. And since we're kind of doing the thing where we go in order from now on with franchises, it felt like, why don't we start at the very beginning, which is still my favorite scary movie. Spoiler alert, I fucking love this movie. It is so damn funny to me, man. And I know there's some parts that people say don't age well, and I understand that, I guess, but I don't care, man. This movie's fucking perfect to me. It's funny because they're making fun of movies being meta while also being meta. And as we know, and it's been a while since we got to do this on this show, Mike loves meta, baby. That is who I am. And so this movie has a lot of that. Love the Wayans brothers. This cast is perfect. From the Wayans brothers, Anna Faris, Shannon Elizabeth. The list goes on and on and on. There is a lot of good people in this film. I think you could almost say this movie borders on comedy horror or no horror if you really wanted to, but it is parodying horror films, so fit in the box to me. Very excited to finally get to do this one because as much as I like Scary Movie 2, I like this one a lot more. I was very excited to go back to it, and I'm probably in the minority on that because I know Scary Movie 2 is very popular. We've done it on this show, and I rated it pretty highly. But not as highly as I'm going to rate this one. That's a spoiler, brothers.
Hey, I'm glad you said that at the end because when you said we've been doing things in order, so you want to start back at the front, I was like, well, we've done Scary Movie 2, brother. So
yeah.
Okay,
good. Well, we got to go back now. We got to go back.
Yeah, no,
then I can do 3, where my man, goddamn, what's his name?
Charlie Sheen.
Yeah, he gets a massive boner. All right, let's do it.
Yeah, he does.
I like Scary Movie 3, but Mike, I hadn't seen Scary Movie 1 in a long time. I met Lachlan Monroe at the beginning of October at Spookala. We were talking just about movies in general, and I was like, man, I don't even remember your role in the movie. I haven't seen it in so long. And I got to admit, man, I say it a lot in my notes, but it was refreshing as hell. I hadn't seen this movie in so long, and it was so nostalgic. Just the time, the shit that was going on. I was laughing my ass off at a lot of this stuff. Do I like it more than 2? I can't say that because when we actually reviewed Scary Movie 2, I had seen that movie so many more times than this one. Mm-hmm. I already knew where all the laughs were. It was just more familiar. I feel like 1, 2, and 3 are all pretty close to me. I wish I could re-rate Scary Movie 2, honestly, give it a higher rating. but I had just gotten a little exhausted from it. But 1, 2, and 3 are all so funny to me. They're so nostalgic. But it was a blast revisiting this one. Just seeing the cast, the movies they were parodying. It was a good time. I'm going to give it a high rating as well.
For sure. I love this movie as well. 24 years later. And I know, you said some of the jokes are dated, but I mean, that really only applies to like newer people going back and watching it, right? I mean, because if you were watching this back in 2000, you still remember all that shit. So
hell yeah.
I think it still holds up. Plus, unlike movies like Naked Gun, there's some, but there's less pop culture references that date it and more horror movie spoof references horror movies never die, right? So I don't think those were dated.
No.
So to me, that was a long way of saying that it still holds up, in my opinion. I don't remember if I said it during our Scary Movie 2 review, but I'm really only a fan of the first one and second one that the Wayans brothers did. And that's just a humor thing. My type of humor is the dirty humor like this and less of the Naked Gun type goofy humor, if that makes sense. So that's just a preference thing for me. I was in junior high school when this came out. No, I was a junior in high school when this came out, is what I'm trying to say. So
God,
obviously I was...
Damn.
Fuck you, man. So obviously I was...
I can't even remember what grade he was in.
So obviously I was right in the wheelhouse, the target audience for this. And going back, I have to say a lot of movies, I think, from like 96 on, were making movies for this target audience. At least it seemed like it. You have Varsity Blues, American Pie, all around the same time. They just don't make movies like this anymore, in my opinion. And I think the genre misses it. But yeah, I love it. And I'm doing the scene by scene, but I'm looking forward to the guys getting into it.
Yeah. Well, first of all, Nico, you mentioned Lachlan Monroe. We can't speak his name and not talk about his most iconic role, which was in White Chicks. Love that movie. Anyway.
Hell yeah. What a beautiful chocolate man.
This is a classic comedy. The first 2 movies in this franchise are elite. The third one still, honestly, all 5 of them get laughs out of me. I'm not going to lie. But the first 2 are elite. The third one's pretty good. The fourth and fifth one's like, come on, what are we doing here? But they still make me laugh. I tend to prefer the second one. And I've watched it way more than this one. But this one's still damn good for what it is. It's not an Oscar-worthy movie, but it's fun. Unless you don't like sophomore humor, then I can definitely understand not loving it, especially in today's climate and how much things have changed as to what's acceptable to joke about. But for me, I enjoy this movie a lot because, like you said, Brian, I grew up with this. Yeah. I remember this movie came out. I remember how things were back then. You can laugh. It's okay to laugh. You don't have to be offended about it. If it's done with no ill intent, you can laugh. If there's ill intent behind you, you're joking about something, yeah, sure, fuck that. But this movie's meant to just laugh and have fun, and I do that.
You can still laugh.
I had almost forgotten, because it has been a while since I'd seen it as well. Almost forgotten the non-horror movies that it makes fun of, like American Pie, Varsity Blues. There's some Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon in here. Like, there's some really funny stuff.
The Matrix.
The Matrix. That's what I meant. Not Crouching Tiger. That's 2. But still.
Well, like, they were both. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. There's some really good, like, non-horror movie stuff in here. And the last thing I meant to add is I think this movie's underrated as far as how smartly it's written. And I know it's there for jokes, but you could add the smart part because Scream and that franchise were calling out the horror movie tropes of the past. Mm-hmm. Well, in turn, making its own tropes, and we talked about this in our Scream reviews, in turn making their own tropes. And Scary Movie makes fun of those tropes in this film and the next one. And I feel like they cover a lot of ground with it. Really good job. It's more smartly written than I think people give it credit for. But obviously, it's there for the ha-ha more than anything else. And they do a great job of that as well.
Well, and kind of to piggyback off of that, I mean, you've mentioned this before, and I know I have too. It's worth mentioning again, just based on what you just said. The first 2 movies in this franchise, I think, were so effective that you can actually, and I know I do, think of Scary Movie instead of Scream.
Yeah, there's a few
or
scenes.
Some of those movies, they get mixed up in your head whenever you're trying to think of some of them. So,
well, they nail the opening scene so perfectly as far as the setting, like how much the house looks like the Scream house, and how well the phone call is done, and everything's recreated. Like, if you really aren't paying attention and you're not big fans like us, I could see you confusing it. I mean, they even use a very It's not the same mask, and I will say, growing up, I feel like even I confuse the mask a lot. There's no confusing these masks, man. This looks like dollar store Ghostface, which is saying something because
but
Ghostface
it's so
like,
great. It was so brilliant of them to use different facial expressions for different masks. It's hilarious.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, I'll quit rambling. I'm really high on the film. I don't know if you can tell.
You guys got anything else?
No, sure.
All right, let's get into this.
Shannon Elizabeth, call me sometime. Let's go.
Oh, okay. Got it over there.
Shannon Elizabeth, buddy.
Oh, I thought you said Marlon Wayans. My bad.
Come on, dog. Maybe I did.
Sean Wayans.
Okay, bear with me, fellas. Just doing the scene by scene made me laugh just typing some of this shit.
There's a bear with you? Sorry.
God damn. Go to sleep. So I can imagine that I'm going to have some issues getting through this, but anyway. We open up on Halloween night where Drew Decker, played by the amazing Carmen Electra, gets a threatening phone call. She tells him she's popping popcorn and even lets old Toothless speak to us as she farts on the phone. And, of course, he asks her favorite scary movie as he looks at Carmen Electra's Playboy issue from June of 1997, by the way. Shout out Taft Bentley from 7th grade. But much of the rest of this plays out like Scream with the exception of Prince being tied up outside instead of her boyfriend. She admits to fucking him a few times, but not being her boyfriend, which, by the way, was Dave Navarro at this point, I believe, and knocking out some trick-or-treaters at the front door with a baseball bat. Drew continues to be chased outside by Ghostface and stripped to her bra and panties as the sprinklers come on, before being stabbed in the breast, removing one of her silicone implants, and then mowed down by a car driven by her father, who was distracted by her mom giving him the old Pecker Wrecker 3000. We cut to Cindy Campbell, the amazing Anna Faris's room, as her boyfriend Bobby, played by friend of the show, John Abrahams. Check out his interview, don'tgoouthere.com. Bobby climbs through her window, hoping to, quote, get his balls licked. James Vanderbeek pops in his head in the window as Dawson's Creek's theme, I Don't Want to Wait, by Paula Cole plays. But the makeout session is cut short by the electric fence panties Cindy is wearing. Bobby leaves, getting flashed by some hairy man boobs, and falls out of the window. We cut to the next day at Be A Corpse High School as we meet Brenda, Ray, Greg, Buffy, and Brenda's stoner brother and star of the entire franchise, in my opinion, Shorty. We get a very now relevant joke about a party at Diddy's house and have a bum throw a sandwich back at Cindy, calling her a bitch, as they walk to class learning about Drew's death. News teams, including hack reporter Gail Hailstorm, played by Sherry O'Terry, are seen covering the murder, and we get Gail shooting a student and the black TV reporter telling us that white folks are dead and they're getting the fuck out of here. Later in the day, the group take a break at the water fountain and start to talk about the 1-year anniversary of, quote, killing that guy.
All right, Mike, I'm still in your line right off rip. Carmen Electra, call me sometime.
Hell yeah, brother. Double that. What's up?
I've always had even back in the day, like in Baywatch, it was always Carmen over Pam for me.
Fuck Dave Navarro, this is loser.
I know this is a spoof, but I want to know who I'm looking at line, that's still so creepy to me. I did chuckle at the fact that he's looking at her in a Playboy magazine. I got a laugh out of that as well. I'm actually really impressed Brian knew when the fuck that released, too. Shout out to Brian. That's a fun fact. Chuckled again seeing the giant popcorn bag over the stove. That was just a nice bit of humor. Carmen Electra wins the Man Fuck Them Kids Award. Baseball batting these trick-or-treaters. Good night. This chick gets ran over by her dad, who's getting some roadhead, suffers no damage, and then killed by Ghostface. I see where the inspiration for Chad Meeks came from. No one plays a ditzy character better than Anna Faris. If Scary Movie 6 doesn't have her in it, I'm boycotting that one for Pete's sake. Shout out friend of the show, John Abrahams. Man has been doing horror movies for almost 3 decades now. Most recently in Dustin's favorite, Terrifier 3. If I was Bobby and Cindy's chest really looked like what she revealed, I'd be like Montgomery Gentry, gone like a freight train. Regina Hall, another legend of the business. I believe this is her 3rd appearance on our show now with this movie, Scary Movie 2, and Law Abiding Citizen. All 3 movies which I like. Shannon Elizabeth, still in Mike's line again. Call me sometime. I'm done now, I swear. Please don't write any bad Apple Podcast reviews. I chuckled again seeing the lipstick all over the chimps on the brochure. I thought that was funny. Marlon Wayans, he was hilarious as Shorty. I kind of agree with Brian. He might be the best in the entire franchise. I love the "run, bitch, run" line. Lachlan Monroe is another favorite of mine. Like I mentioned, I had the great pleasure of meeting him a few weeks ago at Spookala. He had such good things to say about the Wayans brothers, how fun it was making it, how he looks forward to the next one, all that good stuff. This was a fun opening, but I do wonder how Kevin Williamson feels about Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer getting spoofed at the exact same time.
So it's funny you say that, Nico, because I actually have a point in here, and I'll just make it now. I wonder how Wes Craven felt about these. This one in particular. Just because, him and Kevin both. Well, it's funny because what's the first logo you see when the movie starts? Dimension. So same film company. It's spoofing their own film. It's really not a big deal, I guess, if they're willing to put their name on it. So I thought it was always kind of cool they were willing to do it. Obviously, they saw a cash cow coming, but still, that's pretty cool you can do that. Man, Carmen Electra in 2000. Anyway, the fart, I'm sorry. I miss farting being funny. This one's perfectly timed. I thought that shit was hilarious. They dog my man Shaq as an actor, and they're fucking right to do so. Congrats to the haters. They were right. Shaq is a terrible fucking actor, bro. I completely understand. As elite as the Scream open is, like I've said, it's my favorite opening scene of all time in the horror genre. This is a fucking great opening scene, man. Not my top movies, not my best movies of all time. When I think of some of my favorite movies of all time, I think of this opening scene. I really do. It's hilarious. When she beats the shit out of the little trick-or-treaters, I think that's funny as shit. The scene where she runs through the water, I'll just skip over that. We've talked about her enough. Pulling the silicone out is an all-time classic. And the first time I saw this movie, I didn't get it. I knew fake movies in the 2000s, but it wasn't comprehending up here. I knew what they were because, as Dustin and everybody on this show knows, I'm an attitude era kid. I know what fake movies are, okay? I seen them. But I wasn't aware of what was going on with that, but it's hilarious now. Here we go with Anna Faris, Anna Faris, it doesn't matter. Hilarious. Okay. See, I was right. Here we go with Anna Faris, and I love how they're going beat by beat of Scream. I mean, they even have the dad, except this time he's an international drug lord, which I think is fucking hilarious. She knows exactly what to do when he goes out of town. And the crack I smoked earlier is a great line. Speaking of I Don't Want to Wait by Paula Cole, that song gets drugged through the mud. That song's a banger all the way through, buddy. I don't care what anybody says. I think James Vanderbeek being here is fucking hilarious. As Dawson, that's awesome. Wrong set. I think that was a nice little touch there. Brenda. Regina Hall is the fucking goat, man. And still, Regina, call me sometime. Anyway, man, the character of Ray, I know that's a controversy in this film. I understand it. I'm sorry. I still think it's funny. I think it's done with good intentions. The Wayans brothers have talked about this character recently. I think it was all done with, well-placed intentions. I think the majority of the Ray stuff is still really fucking hilarious. I love that they just stamped dumbass right across our guy Greg's report card. That shit was hilarious. Yeah, man, that's all I had. In case you haven't noticed, this is really hard to take notes on. Yeah. And we do this horror movie, when we do horror comedies, this tends to happen because the humor is in the writing. So it's not like prop comedy or action comedy. Humor's in the joke. So just go watch it, but it's still fun to talk about and just repeat the shit they said. It's less funny when I say it though.
Well, it's even harder when the movie is not trying to be a serious movie.
Yeah.
This is a spoof. They're not trying to be a serious movie.
No.
So that's why I told, I don't know if I said it in the chat or when I was just talking to Nico about it, but I said, I just pointed out all the things that made me laugh. So that's what I did.
Yeah, man, that's what I had to do. I mean, I don't know what else to do. It's it's not even like a Thanksgiving where there's at least trying to have a stupid story.
There's a story.
Yeah.
This movie's a bunch of stories put together.
It's literally I Know What You Did Last Summer and Scream put together. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I love the Scream parody in the opening, and her farting makes me laugh every time. Sorry, farts are funny. Also, it's hilarious that she clowns Shaq's acting, and he would eventually be in Scary Movie 4. That's not lost on me. Also, I want to point something out. You guys mentioned Dave Navarro. Nay. She was not with Dave Navarro for 3 more years. That's a Dennis Rodman reference, brothers.
No, I was just saying fuck Dave for screwing that up. That's all that was.
Oh. Yeah. So when she's talking about her boyfriend wearing... Yeah, she's talking about her boyfriend wearing dresses or whatever. Dennis Rodman. He wore the wedding dress in the famous picture, and they were together through 1999. They were married through 1999. This movie was released in 2000, so it means it was probably shot in 1999. So yeah, it's 100% Dennis Rodman. Anyway, I laughed at that reference. Great nod to how stupid horror characters are, having all those weapons laid out, and she grabs the fucking banana. That's funny. Yeah. Carmen Electra running through the sprinklers. That's an iconic scene. Honestly, it's one of the more memorable scenes about the movie. And I love how the title cards spoof Scream. Like, it was perfect. Bar for bar, word for word. Great stuff so far in this movie. James Vanderbeek popping in the window when the Dawson's Creek theme starts playing. That's another funny bit. Always gets a pop out of me. It's also not lost on me when Cindy berates Brenda and Buffy for using products tested on animals, that a year later, Shannon Elizabeth herself, Buffy herself, would star in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, where she, named Justice, tricked Jay and Silent Bob into helping her free a bunch of animals from a lab. So that's kind of funny and just coincidence. Look, I don't know how to critique this movie. Like I said, it's hilarious. You either like it or you don't, and I do. So great open.
Absolutely. We flash back to Cindy, Greg, Bobby, Brenda, Buffy, and Ray driving a BMW. And let's just say Bobby is very distracted, including some Ray and Greg ass play in the back seat going on. Brenda's panties in the back seat.
Hey,
that had me fucking dying. Bobby pulls out his dick while a series of events cause a whiskey bottle to knock Cindy's head onto it and beehive onto Greg's face, while Bobby closes his eyes and hits a guy with the car. While the group argue about what to do, they don't see the man get up and try to tell him that he's okay, leading to Greg accidentally knocking him out again, throwing that same whiskey bottle over his shoulder. They toss him in the ocean and swear not to mention it again. We cut back to school where we see Gail start to hit on Buffy's mentally disabled brother, Doofy, to try to elicit information from him. Doofy is played by the amazing Dave Sheridan, who just kills it in this role. She tells him she never forgets to swallow while referring to his drool, then tickles him, causing him to fart. While in class, we see the teacher has a newborn baby with one of the students, and during a speech by Heather, Cindy notices the killer outside before receiving a note that reads, "I know what you did last Halloween." Cindy thinks back about a picnic with Bobby before finding another note that reads, "No, bitch, I'm talking about killing that guy." After football practice, Ray plays grab ass with everyone in the locker room as Greg sticks around to take a shower after everyone's left. He finds a photo of his baby dick on a locker saying, "I know." He gets dressed and confronts Ray by the water fountain thinking he did it. Cindy admits she also received a note trying to convince them to go to the police, but Greg beats her ass instead. Shorty walks up and asks what they're talking about as Bobby tells him to forget about it. He already knows too much.
All right, now it's time for our I Know What You Did Last Summer flashbacks. This is fun, and I laughed at Greg calling out Ray for his extracurricular activities, as Brian so eloquently called them. Charles Barkley would say, "My girl Brenda got them bloomers on." Good night. This car scene is hilarious, with Greg getting hit repeatedly in the head while Cindy gives head and this guy in the road is hit head on. I just said head a lot. And oh my God, we hit a boot. I laughed out loud. Like, I haven't seen this movie in so long. Like, all these jokes are like hearing it for the first time. I'm feeling really nostalgic and enjoying this movie a lot. This movie is a lot funnier than I remembered. Maybe I'm still an immature guy, but Buffy's line on her and Cindy going down on each other and Ray saying he'll grab the guy's ass, it made me laugh. Like, maybe I'm just an immature fuck, but I thought it was funny. We already committed murder. Might as well rob his ass. This movie is hilarious to me. Shout out Brenda. Like you mentioned, Brian, Dave Sheridan. He's iconic as Doofy. The man nails his role so well. Another laugh when the teacher hands the baby off to a student, calling him its daddy. Like, boy, if this ain't a sign of the times. Bobby isn't sold at all with what he wants from Cindy. My goodness, John Abrahams he's aching for a quaking. It's not the size of the hammer, it's the nail you're throwing it at. I'm just going to say I wrote that line down for reasons that I may use in the future. I have laughed at every line Ray says and everything he does. The way he swings his arms to fight, hold my earrings, where's my Vaseline? Like, he's so funny.
And Greg, this man went full 1930s husband on his wife who didn't make him dinner, laying the smackdown on Cindy. My goodness. Go ahead, Mike.
Damn, you're not wrong. I love them throwing in the I Know What You Did Last Summer parts here. You know, like we said in the open, this is like a perfect mesh-up of those two movies, which that's kind of cool. Like, I would almost like to see, like, you know how they used to do, like, Flintstones and the Jetsons and those kind of, like, mashups? I'd love to see, like, an animated special of these two movies mashed up or something. It'd be pretty damn funny. But, I mean, we pretty much get it here. Man, the ass play is fucking funny. I'm sorry, I can't help it. Ray asking Bobby to put on It's Raining Men. Jesus Christ, man. You know, and then him pulling off Brenda's underwear. Dude, it was so big. I thought it was a shirt this time. I was like, what the fuck is that? But she said it was laundry day. That shit had me dying this time, man.
Oh, that part always reminded me of Road Trip, where he holds up that big.
I definitely
think
there's. Yeah, I definitely think there's. Well, I don't know when Road Trip was released. Was it 99 or 2000?
I don't remember.
Okay, it's been a long time. So anyway, I will say there's a point where my eyes were just locked on Shannon Elizabeth for about 30 seconds. Not going to lie to you. So just throwing that out there. I will say this is the most incidental way to get some head. What the fuck? The series of events that had to take place for Bobby to get that is quite out of the ordinary, I would say. And I love that the guy they run over is totally fine. And so Greg throws the bottle behind it. That shit is fucking hilarious. You know, I'm not going to lie. If we'd already murdered this guy, I'm probably taking his wallet too. I mean, if we're going to go for the cover-up, you might as well get the card and the money, son. I mean, Brenda wasn't wrong, dog. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. If we were going to cover it up, we might as well get the most out of it. Anyway, there's some meta-as-fuck stuff right here. First of all, they're recreating the Scream scenes, sitting by the water fountain. But then they mentioned Brian's favorite, Jennifer Love Huge Tits, the player, which Jennifer Love Huge Tits is in I Know What You Did Last Summer. And then the age of the actors that would play them in a movie, knowing damn well everybody there is in their mid-20s to 30s. I thought that was really on the nose. I thought it was very funny. This teacher cracks me the fuck up, bro.
Yeah.
She's breastfeeding in the room. She's sleeping with multiple students. Not funny, obviously, but of the time, whatever. It's played for laughs. And then tells the girl to shut the fuck up, which I use on X/Twitter all the time. And I love that they keep the same current, like the same through line, because Cindy's and Sydney's moms are both well-known whores around town, for lack of a better term. I mean, that's kind of what they're known for, unfortunately. This fucking baby dick pic is hilarious. I'm sorry. There's no getting around it. And Greg's reaction to it. Every week we discover there's a South Park episode for everything. And I know Dustin knows the one I'm talking about, where all the men in town get really mad and they have a new way to scientifically prove the dick size of every man and every boy in town. And they go through great measures and they create a new average size for everybody because everyone that gets mad about it's in therapy. It's fucking hilarious. That's the way Greg acts, I'm sorry, man. I have no other way to say this. You mentioned the 1930s husband. Nico, him beating her ass is fucking hilarious, dog. I gotta be real. I can't be anything but me. Obviously, it's played for laughs. We don't want to see men hit women. We don't have to go over this all the time. But in the context, that shit was funny. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the chain of events when Greg gets whacked by the tree branch and then he drops the liquor bottle on Cindy, making her fall face first into Bobby's lap, is outrageous. I laugh my ass off every time. That might be, honestly, my favorite part of the movie. It's so funny. We already committed murder. We might as well rob his ass. She's so real for that. I mean, he doesn't need it anymore. Fuck it. I like the commentary on casting in horror movies too. Touche. You're right. They do that. What I don't like, though, about this movie, this is my biggest negative, is the spoofing of Dewey to be a mentally challenged guy. Respect Deputy Dewey, you sons of bitches. Anyway, the sheriff here is probably best known for his iconic role in the hit blockbuster movie, No Holds Barred. That was the most egregious Oscar snub ever. I know Mike agrees. He stepped away, but he agrees. Good form on the elbow drop from Greg. His body slam needs a little work, but the elbow drop, Macho Man would be proud. I don't know, man. I have nothing else to say. I'm still loving it.
Road Trip was 2000, by the way, Mike. Oh, okay, Brian. Yeah, awesome. Sounds good.
Okay, Brian. Cool.
Oh, shit. All right. Later that evening, we catch up at Buffy's teen beauty pageant, as it's called on the banner. While Buffy is given a dramatic reading, she sees Greg murdered in plain view.
I have a headphone in, you fucking asshole.
I figured you did. That's why I did it. I love you. With all due respect, I love you.
All right, let's see here. While the audience mistakes her pleas for help as part of her performance, Buffy is named the winner, however, and totally forgets about Greg. After the show, she tells Bobby and Cindy that it's probably one of Greg's dumb jokes, as we see Ghostface hauling off his body in a trash bag behind them. I have seen this movie 45,000 times, and reading Bobby and Cindy and it being a Brady Bunch reference, I'm an idiot. Like, how did I not realize that the entire time? Wow. Okay. Anyway, later that evening, the killer calls Cindy and chases her through the house, leading to one of the best sequences ever put on film, when Cindy throws a vase, a bike, her grandma, and eventually a grand piano down the stairs as Ghostface pursues, leading to the death of her grandmother in the process. She's able to call the police on her computer via a, quote, white woman in trouble message, and the police arrive quickly. Bobby arrives and is arrested after a cell phone, knife, and gloves fall out of his pocket. At the station, the sheriff has her look at some scantily clad photos of himself in a Speedo, and she heads off to spend the night with Buffy and Doofy. We cut to Ghostface calling Shorty, but it soon turns into a Budweiser commercial before the killer calls Cindy again, telling her she pinned the wrong guy in Bobby, and Doofy turns up quickly to help, post-vacuum cleaner blowjob, and asks to not be disturbed again. The next day, Shorty tells Ray and Cindy that the whole situation sounds like this movie Scream that he'd seen, and then announces to the lunchroom there's a party tonight at Cindy's Drunk White Women for Everybody. Following a press conference where Doofy announces to everyone that Gail swallows, we hear a speech from Miss Mann, the phys ed teacher, where a speech is given about how shaving pubic hairs does not rid you of crab infestation. Cindy tells Buffy the killer is real, and that's the end of this set of scenes.
All right, from this point to the rest of the movie, I don't have that many notes, so I'm just giving Mike a heads up. The pageant scene, call back to I Know You Did Last Summer. I really enjoyed that. I don't know, it just played with the nostalgia. I really liked it. And now we get a Bride of Chucky spoof, like I mentioned throughout this show already. I'm feeling super nostalgic right now, ladies and gentlemen. I'm really having a good time watching this. Meta as fuck to get hit in the head by the camera and then push it away. I really love that. And this is just me thinking out loud right now for Scream 7, if it ever gets made. Ghostface with a fisherman hook. I like that weapon choice personally for that character. I'm just going to throw that out there. Damn, Scary Movie said fuck kids and grandma. Goodness, they just they don't care about nobody. Sherry O'Terry, I don't think she gets enough credit. I think she's fantastic as Gale in this movie. The most iconic scene of the movie and something that has lasted generations, the "What's up?" Love it. I know we used to do that all the time whenever I was in school. Audibly chuckled again as Doofy runs into the room with a vacuum cleaner. Like, that's perfectly timed humor. And it was a good callback. I laughed my ass off. And this is the last thing I got. FUBU jersey. I remember having those back in the day. Love it.
Buddy, I had a great collection of Fat Albert, FUBU, the whole thing, man. I was rocking my FUBU Platinum. Anyway, I actually really like this set of scenes. And this is what I meant by it's really smart. And I know some of it's, straight off of Scary Movie 2, or not Scary Movie 2. Scream 2 is part of a spoof. But a dramatic reading by Buffy, and then it goes into something that I think actually would work in a horror movie, which is kind of why it works in Scream 2 a little bit. They just don't call it out that way. I love how she's crying after she watched Greg's murder and then finds out that she wins. Fuck Greg. Oh, God, I love that. That line cracked me up every time. I'm not going to lie. Cindy here in the tub is nasty. Like, Anna Faris, hey, shout out. Call me sometime, okay? But shaving your tongue with a razor and then letting a big-ass bubble fart out? Come on, dog. That was too personal. I didn't need to see all that, dog. I'm not going to lie, though. This Ghostface is actually a top-tier Ghostface performance, man. From the action comedy to the phone call, I think it's done really well. Him hiding behind the couch, getting seen, and then re-hiding under the rug is fucking classic, man. I love it so much. All the stuff, with the stairs, the grandma, the piano, I think it's classic stuff. It's really, really good. And I think that like having the mask, the like weapon and everything fall out of Bobby is like a really spoofy way to be like, how did we miss the boyfriend and his friend the first time we saw this film? Like, I don't know how we missed that. Or at least that's what I took from it. The fucking police officer in his underwear as he showed her the pics, I thought that was fucking hilarious. Doofy with the classic smell my finger, which I'll never forgive this fucking movie for, because as you guys know, you guys were groomsmen at my wedding. Zach Anthony thought that was the funniest fucking thing all damn day. Smell my finger. That's all I'm going to say about that. I'm not going to say anything else. That's all that needs to be said. Waza is awesome. It crossed over from those commercials. Obviously, this movie, but as you guys know, Attitude Era kids, Dudley Boys also used it all the time. Still do, actually. So I think it's still fun. And honestly, this took me, this Was Up scene is probably the most nostalgic part of the film for me, because I hadn't seen it in this non-Dudley Boys context in a long time. And to see it play out like the commercials, I think is awesome. I think Shorty referencing that he's seen Scream before is really good and really on the nose as well. That's all I had.
All right. So everyone thinking Buffy was acting when she's on stage, that's hilarious to me. And so is her switch up when she heard she won. She's legit crying. And then she's like, oh, wait, I won? That's so funny to me. This movie's so ridiculous. The camera zooming in and then hitting her in the forehead. Why does it make me laugh even after all these years? Like, it's so stupid, but I can't help it. Sorry, it does. Great parallels with Scream, with Ghostface being clumsy and Bobby showing up and being a suspect, and then Ghostface mask scaring her outside the door. Great parody there. Perhaps the second most memorable or first most memorable, it's the toss-up between Carmen Electra and the sprinklers in this, but is the Waza Budweiser parody. Good shit there. It stands test of time. Love it. Strange story direction, though, to have Buffy antagonize Cindy and say it's not real. Like, I know this movie's not meant to be serious, but like that could have been any other girl in that locker room poking fun, be like, oh, it's not real, it's not real. She literally stayed the night at Buffy's house. I don't know. That was weird to me. But regardless, I still like this set of scenes. I don't know what else to say.
We open up with Miss Mann sitting in his office, sniffing panties, where Cindy interrupts to talk about the killer when Miss Mann mistakes it for smelly poontang issues. She tells him she has a secret when he stands up and his nuts fall out of his underwear, saying they all have their secrets. Everyone leaves Buffy alone in the locker room when she starts hearing Red Rum whispers, and is then confronted by the killer, eventually stabbed and beheaded with a cleaver. We catch up with Ray and Brenda in the dorm room where Ray gets super turned on by her wearing his jersey, asking her to put on the rest of the uniform and role play, calling her Brandon as he dry humps her. Later that night, Gail and her cameraman Kenny go to a makeout spot to get their murder on camera. After they film the killer murdering Heather, Ghostface chases them into the woods and murders Kenny. Gail takes the camera and films herself giving a snot-filled apology to Kenny's family, a la the Blair Witch Project. Meanwhile, we cut to Ray and Brenda going to the movies to see Shakespeare in Love, where Ray goes to the restroom and is immediately tickled by a dick through the glory hole in one of the stalls. Putting his head closer, the killer stabs him all the way through the head with his erect penis. Just let that set in. Still in the theater, Brenda is acting like most movie patrons nowadays, pissing off everyone around her. The killer sits next to her but doesn't even have to stab her, as everyone else in the theater stabs her and boos her until she dies on the stage. Later that evening at Cindy's house party, an overweight girl named Tina, one of Mike's old flames, asks her for more beer, and she points her in the direction of the garage.
You damn right I will. Oh, sorry.
Miss Mann, not even trying to keep it a secret, sniffing the undies that blatantly. Got no shame at all. I think Shannon Elizabeth does great spoofing Tatum, and her death scene has always been one that I remember the most from this movie. Like her breaking her leg, mocking the whole Tatum scene. I love it. It's my favorite kill. I was going to announce that now. I think Ghostface is hilarious too, showing his frustration with how annoyed he is with Buffy's constant yapping. Jesus, so real. Cindy does a better "what are you waiting for" than Jennifer Love Hewitt while spoofing her. Wild times. Jennifer Love Hewitt, you're beautiful, but not the best actress ever. I love the runny nose effect with the Blair Witch homage. I thought that was great. Laughed again with the condom descriptions on the dispensers. The description, can't feel shit. Laughed my ass off at that. Real as fuck, too. The dick in her ear, glory hole scene is how I felt with Mike's audio doing the 13 on 31 show. Love the spoof of Jada Pinkett kill in the theater. Now we're back to Stu's house. Let's go.
Come on, man. I'm taking strays in this episode. What's going on here, man? What the fuck?
I can't
You already told me I'm up next, so.
Yeah, you're up next, although your mind isn't even that bad. Fucker. Anyway.
Sorry.
It's all good. Man, Miss Man's not trying to hide it in any way, shape, or form. She's sniffing the underwear, something fucking serious. And I'm not sure who the actress is here, but they could have used Nicole Bass, Dustin. I know that shit would have worked.
Yeah.
They used Nicole Bass. I was like, that's Nicole Bass. Anyway, but they didn't. I think the scene here with her and Cindy is fucking hilarious. I'm sorry. It's funny when her balls pop out. There is just no hiding that at all. That shit is hilarious. That's a massive set of boys. Pause. I love Shannon Elizabeth spoofing the Tatum death here. I think it's great. Or I guess part of the Tatum death anyway. And I think it's done so perfectly. It's the perfect spoof. I think she's perfectly annoying, and seeing Ghostface get fed up with her and just throw her head in the garbage, I think it's great. You mentioned the What Are You Waiting For? It is better than Jennifer Love Hewitt's. I completely agree with you, man. It's also every time she said it, I kept thinking of Love Me Like You Do. What are you waiting for? Anyway, okay. To me, this is the scene that, oh God, I'm gonna get so many jokes for this. Can't fucking wait. This scene where Brenda puts on the full fucking uniform is hilarious, dog. Full stop, full send. That shit is fucking funny. Ray
He did something for you?
No, I said it's funny. That's it. Funny. Memorably funny, okay? Relax, everybody. Shit was fucking funny. Brenda being the loud bitch in a movie theater. Hey, everybody hates loud people in the movie theater. That's what I'm saying, brother. That's what I'm saying. And then
Absolutely.
Ray gets rammed in the ear by a dick. What a fucking moment in the movie. I remember the first time I saw this, I was like, Jesus Christ, what? That's a penis, as Brian said. Wrecked penis, actually. I'm not going to lie. If I were in the movie theater with Brenda, I'd have stabbed her myself at that point. That's all I got. I would have participated in the stabbing.
Which stab? Anyway.
I said I deserve it, Daddy.
Anyway, I could have went without seeing the balls hanging out of Miss Man's skirt. I mean, it's funny, but come on. That was a set on her. At around 47 minutes, Brian mentioned earlier, but we see the name of the high school on the wall, B.A. Corpse High School. That's funny. Good shit. Cindy yelling, "What are you waiting for?" is another great spoof. So overly dramatic, and it led to the teacher jumping off the roof. But, like, why? Who cares about him in the story? That was kind of weird to me. But it was funny because she's like, "What are you waiting for?" He's like, "Oh, me? Okay, I'll jump." We get a nice Blair Witch Project spoof with Gail. Hell yeah. Love that. Great movie. 25 years anniversary this year. When Ray and Brenda are in the movie theater, the preview screen reads, "The following preview has been ass-proved for immature audiences only. If you can read this, you are too close. PP, poopy boogers, farts, butthole. Rated I for immature. We thought it would be funny to put this here. Kiss our asses and take it off pause." That's funny. And the preview that pops up for us for a movie called Amistad 2, which featured Keenan Ivory Wayans in a cameo. Love that. I love how the Wayans family, one eats, we all eat. I love that. The dick through the ear in the glory hole, that's outrageous. The movie keeps one-upping itself. Brenda getting stabbed excessively in the theater is funny as hell. I know we've all had people in the theater with us that wouldn't shut the fuck up. So while I don't condone murder, I get it. I'm still enjoying it a lot. I love this movie.
Ray having the bandage on his ear later in the movie is fucking outrageous.
It's fantastic. It's wonderful.
We open up this set of scenes as Tina enters the garage to get some more malt liquor when she's spooked by a horse and a cat before the door closes and the lights turn on as Ghostface pops up. Tina tries to escape through the garage door, but the sheer force of her weight brings the whole door and garage down, killing her. Back in the kitchen where Cindy is doing a keg stand, Bobby shows up and brings Cindy upstairs for some good old sex, during which he brings out a hedge trimmer to trim the pubes and is then blasted on the ceiling by about 100 gallons of baby batter. All throughout, one of the best sex scenes put on film, as we also catch up with Ghostface, who's down in the basement with Shorty, and the boys getting high and making prank calls and putting together a freestyle rap, accidentally killing everyone but Shorty, slinging around his hook in the illest rhyme ever seen. Ghostface makes it upstairs and busts in on a conversation between Cindy and Bobby and stabs Bobby before disappearing. Cindy gets a gun from the drawer while Bobby limps next to her and eventually takes the gun. Shorty comes up from the basement warning about blood and ass being everywhere, and Bobby shoots him. Ray arrives on the scene, still alive as well, and both confront her in the kitchen. They announce they will only kill her and her father, and that they were merely copying the real killer. Bobby admits to being gay, while Ray denies it. While stabbing each other, Cindy calls them psychos and says they've seen one too many TV shows, while Ray responds, telling Cindy that canceling TV shows makes psycho killers. And that joke goes into the next, which is the ending. Go ahead.
Just to not be too inappropriate when I say this, but I'm just going to say I agreed with Ghostface scratching his head, watching what he's watching in the garage. Just going to leave it at that. This is a hard movie to take analysis notes on, honestly. I'm laughing, reminiscing, enjoying the spoofs. I'm just having a good time. I'm not really taking the most notes. Ghostface saying this some good shit was hilarious, smoking that reefer. Cindy Cindy is working that thing on Bobby. My goodness, she got the whole house shaking. I know that was some life-changing coochie. I haven't seen this movie in years, and I can't lie. I forgot she got huge loads of jizz on her in this one and in part 2. Is this in her contract? Something must have changed in Scary Movie 3. Like, what is going on with this?
Chris
I love
Pratt
how
saw this and was like, I'm in. Sign me up.
Yep.
I laugh, but I don't even know the reference. I love how the knife is visibly not blood-stained. I love Marlon Wayans' reaction getting shot. I laughed. Thought it was great. Laughed out loud again with Ray's ear bandaged like Brian brought up. That was hilarious. And Sean Wayans, I think he does a fine job imitating Stu. I'm having a damn good time watching this movie. I'm excited for the ending.
She was married to Chris Pratt from 2009 to 2018. That's why I said that.
Anna Faris?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Man, as soon as I saw this heavier set woman, I knew what they were going to do. The first time I saw this movie, I said, son of a bitch. And it's great. I'm sorry. It's funny. It brings the whole garage down. Shout out to Tina for reasons. Anyway, they go back to the party where Cindy is drunk. And come on, dog. Not a single person in this room could pass as a high schooler, bro. Not a single person. Everyone in here looks like crew members that they were like, hey, come be at the high school party. Not even extras. Like, I felt like they just grabbed people off the street. And there was a guy in here who was at least 45 years old, dude. Like, it was crazy. I will say them getting their tongues tied is kind of like the gross humor that I'm not a big fan of. But it's funny in the moment. I think Shorty's Sixth Sense spoof is really good. I think it's played for laughs and well done. Ghostface getting stoned is probably some of the more memorable stuff from this film. His high face mask is awesome. It's hilarious. As a matter of fact, I wore that one year as a Halloween costume because I had a young dad and he thought it was funny, so I got to do it too. So I thought that was really funny. Some of the other parents didn't think it was so funny. But anyway, but all those scenes are great, man. And him rapping, golly, it's so funny. And then how I don't know if accidentally kills is the right word, but how he's like kind of getting into his rhyme and he fucking cuts everybody. I love it. Him and Shorty going back and forth saying scream lines into the phone while they're stoned is classic shit. What's your favorite scary movie? And then Shorty goes, I'll get you like a fish. Oh, God. It cracks me up every time. This scene with Bobby and Cindy is, man, come on, dog. All right. I have a reputation on this show. However, even that is too much for me. I got to let you guys know. I would also be in there with a weed whacker. We got to take care of this. Head trimmer probably wouldn't get through that. You have to get one of those metal weed whackers and get after it. But anyway, I mean, hey, it's not stopping me. I'm just saying, got to get after it. Making the whole house quake is wild. It's like Shook Me All Night Long by AC/DC in there. Anyway, and then, you point that out, Dustin, or Nico, whichever one. That's two scary movies where there's just a giant amount of fucking baby batter with a scene in Anna Faris. So maybe she's got the goods. That's all I can say.
Oh, okay.
Dude, we're getting canceled. We might as well just go all in. Let's go.
All I got to say is Cindy is a weak-ass drinker. Who the hell can't finish a beer bong? She barely chugged any. I was disappointed. Another great spoof when Shorty says he sees dead people and it's because he's high. That shit's funny to me. Bats flying out of her panties. And then that insane bush is also funny as hell. But what's funnier is Ghostface Mask, like you mentioned, Ghostface Mask looking high as hell after hanging out with Shorty and his friends. That's funny. That's good stuff. Back to Cindy and Bobby. You mentioned making the whole house shake. All I can think of is next Friday when Uncle Elroy's upstairs and he's like, damn, Mom. Like, that's all I think about every time. But this movie, what people don't actually realize is this movie is actually a PSA for why No Nut November is a bad idea. If you're going to participate, rub one out before engaging in coitus. That's all I'm saying. You can't let it build up like that. The killer's knife being clean as a whistle after stabbing Bobby, that should have tipped Cindy off. Idiot. Of all the things that this movie gets right, one thing I can't get behind is shit-talking Jack Black. I understand that I didn't like I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer, but Jack Black is great. Unacceptable. Ray is 100% right about the Wayans Bros being a great show that didn't deserve being canceled. I agree. Leave it at that. I'm ready for the finale. I have nothing.
Tell young Elroy.
Hell
Ray
yeah.
continues stabbing Bobby repeatedly out of anger because his favorite show, The Wayans Brothers, has been canceled after 5 seasons without getting a final episode. The real killer pops up and stabs Ray in the back, causing him to fall in a position that appears the two were having anal sexual relations. Cindy proceeds to employ some Matrix-style moves and soundtrack, eventually kick him out of the window via a Sonya Blade from Mortal Kombat bicycle kick. Even though that was Liu Kang, I just realized that. The police arrive and take Cindy to the police station where she and the sheriff, via about 4 mugs breaking, giving us 4 flashbacks, realize that Doofy was the real killer all along. And in one of the greatest reveals since The Usual Suspects, Doofy reveals he was faking his disability and rides off with Gale Hailstorm after removing his disguise. Finding his discarded backpack with his Ghostface mask and knife in the street, Cindy begins screaming, but is final destination by a car as the sheriff runs away. We then cut to a homemade movie by Shorty who tells us the rules to survive robbing a gas station. And that's the end of the regular movie. And in an after-credit scene, we see way too much of an extended scene with Doofy and his vacuum cleaner. And there, boys, a Scary Movie 2000. What do you think?
Gotta admit, I didn't see that post-credit scene, and I'm not mad that I did. Ray, he voiced some real frustration with that Wayans Brothers show being canceled early. I don't really remember that show, but folks sounded a little frustrated. I might need to go back and check it out.
Yeah,
I like these scary movie spoofs because in this instance, The Matrix and Scream just entered into the same world, and this is just fun. Why is there a goldfish in the coffee cup? I don't know. Doofy with the ultimate reveal. Jigsaw has nothing on this twist. Nothing, I tell you. Hell of a way to end the movie, running over Cindy as the film ends. And I thought Shorty's Randy impression at the end was fun as hell as well. Something I've said a lot. This movie was fun, and it took me back to a nostalgic time of life, and I'm glad, Mike, you picked it. It was a great time.
I don't really have a whole lot here because I feel like, the ending is basically just Scream, as far as the killer reveal or the quote-unquote the ghost face reveal. I do think the back and forth between Bobby and Ray is really funny, especially, I know it was technically in the last set of scenes where, Bobby thinks they're a gay couple and Ray doesn't, which is hilarious considering the rest of the film. No, man, I do think it's really, really good. I think the twist of Doofy being this undercover suave man is fucking hilarious, man. It was really well done. And then Cindy getting hit by a car, Final Destination style, like you mentioned. I love Shorty's Randy spoof because we hadn't seen it in the movie. Like, there hadn't been these are the rules to survive a horror film. What you expect from a Scream spoof. And then we finally get it right here, except it's robbing a gas station, or surviving a gas. It's all good stuff, man. I was unfortunate. I did see the extra doofy scene. It is still fucking hilarious, dude. It is top tier funny, Nico. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I don't have much either. Ray getting stabbed by Ghostface is a great twist. I love the spoofing of the Matrix in his showdown with Cindy. That's good. Imagine if that was the twist in Scream. Like, Dewey was actually the killer, and he and Gale rode off into the sunset. That would have been insane. Anyway, when Cindy gets plowed by the car, there's actually a deleted scene that shows that it was Drew's dad while getting Dome again. And I think they should have left that in because that's how he killed his own daughter in the open. Like,
Yes.
that would have been a great callback. They should have left that in. Instead, she's just hit by a car and we end. But anyway, you said it. It's basically a spoof of Scream, and I love it. Sorry.
All right, Nico. You guys have anything else before we go to comments and questions?
No, sir. I got the gram pulled up right now. Making X2 commented, the Wayans brothers knew how to appeal with audiences. I mean, Carmen Electra is hot and all, but thank you for Lachlan Monroe in a towel, too, with the sweaty hot emoji. P.S. Long live Anna Faris.
There you go.
For sure. I've got X pulled up right here. So Mookie said 5 out of 5. Perfect movie. Which y'all like better, Scary Movie or Scary Movie 2? And then where do you see them going with the new one since they're coming back to the franchise? So I'll go ahead and say first, I like them both. The first two are both good. I lean, like I said earlier, I lean towards the second. If I just put one of them on, it's going to be the second. But that's not an indictment on this one. I think they're both hilarious.
I probably do the same. I probably lean more towards the second, but it's because I quote it more. With the "Take my small hand, child," I say that shit all the time. And as far as to answer the question about the sixth one, I kind of lean towards them spoofing a lot of Scream 5 and having Anna Faris maybe come back at the end like Sydney did. That's just...
I actually really like this one more, maybe a lot more. And that's no knock against Scary Movie 2. I think Scary Movie 2 is totally funny. It's good. I almost think because Scary Movie 2 almost feels like a bigger movie where they spoof a lot more movies in that one than they do this one. This one's pretty like Scream. I know what you did last summer with a few of those like 90s teen comedies thrown in. Scary Movie 2 like runs the gambit on a lot of movies. Maybe that's why I like it so much because I love Scream, I love the meta, and I love all that. That's probably more so what it is than anything else. And as far as what I would do or what I expect, I mean, I agree with you, Brian, to an extent. I'm fully expecting some Scream 5 and Scream 6 spoofs just because they made fun of elevated horror. And I'm sure Scary Movie will not only make fun of elevated horror, which I know we love A24. But they're going to spoof the fuck out of A24, brothers. It is coming, and it's going to be glorious. But they'll also spoof Scream movies, and like you said, I think Anna Faris shows up in the way that Neve Campbell did. And I don't even want to say this. Got to get Melissa Barrera back in these films. Got to. It is a necessary thing to do, and it will be really, really funny if they pull that off.
I was going to say, as long as they have the giant attic dick, I don't even know how you spoof that. I mean, you just have it in there.
That is, like, it seems like it belongs in this movie anyway.
Right.
Yeah, 1 and 2, it just depends on my mood. Hell, let's just watch these joints back to back for Pete's sake. They only an hour and a half. Let's have a good time. But yeah, and like you, I'm going to piggyback right off you, Mike. I think they're going to spoof, A24, maybe some long legs kind of stuff. But, I mean, you got to bring, even if Melissa Barrera is in the movie for like 2 minutes, just have her show up at the end. We're like, oh, you made this movie? I thought you got fired. Something to that extent. That would be so hilarious. That'd be perfect. But that's all I got. Well, we may be touching on that subject in a deeper fashion soon, anyways.
Yep. Stay tuned. And I didn't touch on that when I gave my answer, so I'll respond now. Yeah, I absolutely agree. Melissa Barrera, have to have her in a spoofing Scream at least once because she already said that she's open for it. Also, I want Anna Faris and Regina Hall both back because I think they both said that they're down. But one scene that there's a lot of movies that they can spoof that's come out since the last one. One movie that I hope they do, I swear to God, if they knock a head off of the telephone pole, it'll be a 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10 movie. Spoof Hereditary, that's one specific scene, and I will love it. Anyway.
You got to bring the Butler back, too, because, there's been so many remakes and legacy sequels. How perfect would that be for like a spoofing legacy sequels? Bring the Butler back and all that?
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Well, we already solved it.
No, that's a good point. You could requel this franchise by bringing all of those like old 1 and 2 characters back. That'd be really well done. I would like to see that.
Because we've already seen in this franchise that just because you die doesn't mean you're dead. Like, they all come back. So,
Right,
yeah,
right.
absolutely.
Now, I don't want them to just do that. Like, I want them to spoof some of the movies we've gotten, like the Mummy, Daddy. Like, that's going to be great. I can't fucking wait for them to do fucking Long Legs. Let's go.
Yeah. Anita
Get
Russell
Nick Cage
said,
to do it, by the way.
get Nick
Fuck
Cage.
yeah. Yeah.
No,
Fuck yeah.
I'm good.
Oh, dude,
Anyway.
I would. Fuck it. That'd be hilarious. Dude, Nick Cage spoofing himself or a movie they're trying to get Oscar buzz for him? Come on.
I'm good on never giving him work again, to be honest. But anyway, Anita Russell said, like this one a lot. Anita Russell said, like this one a lot, but this is my second favorite. I'm assuming the second is her favorite. I agree. Anyway, Kevin Scanlon said, oh my God, we hit a boot. Where's the foot? Classic line. That was so funny. That guy at Millhouse14108 said, oh shit, son, hilarious and ruthless film for my late teens. A raunchy, no-punch-pulled comedy that took aim at everyone and hit. Wayans Brothers' master of comedy. When Bobby Bukkake Cindy to the ceiling, I remember convulsing in laughter in the theater. 9 out of 10. Love the show, fellas. Yeah. Appreciate the love. And yeah, that scene is hilarious. And then the last one we got, I saved it for last because I almost couldn't believe what I was reading. Randy Smith, Go Dogs, had the audacity, the unmitigated gall to say Doofy greater than Dewey.
Wow.
This is definitely one of those that's so bad it's great movies. Brother,
Even I can't
Randy-
get on board with you, Randy. What's
Randy, I
up
want to
with
say
that?
this. Your takes are so bad that they're good. You know what I'm saying? That's a terrible take, brother, but we appreciate the support and we love you.
How about them Rebels, Randy? How about that? Oh, sorry. Dude, we're 1 at 9. I can do whatever I want.
All right, we've got 2 on the Book of Faces. Eric Doolittle. Me and Caleb Roberts still quote this movie probably daily. 10 out of 10. And Cheyenne Turner. Oh my God, we hit a boot. One of the best parodies ever. Only eclipsed by the sequel.
I am majorly in the minority. Okay. I'm cool with that. I understand why, though. Yeah, the budget for the original Scary Movie was $19 million. And I've never done this before, but this feels like a fun episode to do this with. Any guesses on what the movie ended up making? Over
200.
Over
200.
under. Okay, over under 200 million.
I'll say under slightly.
Okay.
Because I remember it
I would
was really
say-
popular.
I'm going to say over.
Okay. And Brian, you said
Over.
200. So you're pushing that money line. Okay. This movie, worldwide, this original theatrical run, which it had 2, by the way, $278 million.
Wow.
Off an $18 million budget for a spoof movie. No wonder
Hey.
there was 5 more of these things.
That's what I was going to say.
That's awesome.
Bring
I
back
love it.
the raunchy comedy. We are missing it in society.
We
We
are.
need it.
I agree.
We need it.
Okay, what do we got? Fun facts right now?
Yep.
I've got a few, but Dustin, you want to go ahead?
I got a few too. So, okay. The original script featured a cameo role for Nico's favorite, Jamie Lee Curtis, as Cindy would discover her hiding in a closet in her house while the killer was chasing her upstairs. I know that Nico's sad that got nixed.
She probably thought she was too damn good to do it. Fuck her.
She is.
Whatever. Bullshit.
Anyway, Jared Leto was offered to play Bobby during the early stages of casting. He eventually declined in favor of doing Requiem for a Dream, which also starred Scary Movie writer-actor Marlon Wayans. That's kind of crazy. Like, you turn down this silly-ass movie and do a movie that's scarred generations. So, okay. The role of Brenda was originally offered to Aaliyah, rest in peace, but she turned it down. Alicia Silverstone was offered the lead role of Cindy Campbell, but turned it down. Jenny McCarthy Wahlberg, sidebar, this is how I found out that she's married to a Wahlberg. I had no idea. Shout out to Donnie.
Donnie.
Yeah,
Donnie.
I didn't know they were married. So anyway, But Jenny McCarthy Wahlberg and Britney Spears were offered the role of Drew Decker. McCarthy turned down the role in order instead to appear in Scream 3. So what a small-ass role. But would later appear as Katie in Scary Movie 3.
Hey, also, my own little spin on that one. McCarthy and Elektra, who got the role, both, of course, modeled for Playboy and both hosted MTV's Singled Out from 95 to 96, and I loved that show, so I had to call out the Singled Out.
Damn, son was watching MTV in the mid-90s. That's crazy.
That's it.
Jennifer Coolidge was offered the role of Miss Man, but turned it down. I guess she wanted a hot dog real bad.
Stifler's mom. Whew.
Yeah.
Whew,
Lil
Vinci.
Kim was considered for the role of Brenda Meeks. I'm glad they went with Regina Hall. In an early script, it was going to reveal that the killer was Damon Wayans for his brothers holding out on him in the movie. But due to scheduling conflicts, it was rewritten the way it is now. So that would have been awesome. I wish Damon was in it.
That would have been.
That would have been really good.
Just two more. Carmen Electra was in Welcome to Hollywood with Matthew McConaughey, who was in a ridiculous movie called Tiptoes with Patricia Arquette, David's sister. I only said that because an easier way to be there would be to mention that Anna Faris was in an episode of Friends in 2004 with David Arquette's ex-wife, Courtney Cox. But I wanted to point out the absurd movie Tiptoes. Does anyone remember that movie?
No.
Matthew McConaughey has a...
You think I know that movie?
Brother, listen to this. Matthew McConaughey in the movie has his whole family is little people, like dwarves. And his brother is played by Gary Oldman, an elite actor. They put Gary Oldman's face, like CG, on a little person's body in the movie.
What is happening?
And go to YouTube and watch the trailer. Watch the trailer for the movie Tiptoes, because that movie came out in the early 2000s. But like they say the word midget so much in that trailer that when you watch it in 2024, it's shocking how often they say that word. So I just wanted to bring that movie to everyone's attention. That movie exists. Matthew McConaughey, elite actor. Gary Oldman, elite actor. They're in that ridiculous movie. So I had to tie it in.
Good Lord.
And it's called Tiptoes. Come on.
Thanks for the explanation. All right, Dustin, you want to go ahead with favorite kill, least favorite kill? Since you're going to do the...
Sorry, brother. I didn't mean to take all your fun facts. I didn't know I had them all.
Yep, you took them all. You're good.
Sorry, we're a team. We're in this together. Favorite kill for me was Grandma. Getting thrown down the steps and then trampled by a piano, that shit was hilarious to me. I'm sorry. Because she was not in the rest of the movie. She just happened to be there. That was so funny. Least favorite kill to me was the teacher who jumped off the roof, because who even cares? Like, Grandma, at least, I don't know, it made more sense. Teacher is literally causing a scene. We don't even know he exists. As far as my final thoughts in the rating, look, is it good? Definitely not. There's some really good spoofing, though, and the comedy's great. The enjoyability factor, for me, far outweighs the quality of cinema that we get in this movie. I gave the second one a 7.5 for that reason. Like, I enjoy it, but it's not a good movie. Same one with this one. So it's right in line with it. I went 7.5 as well.
I had a great time with this movie. Favorite kill, I'm going to go with Shannon Elizabeth. I'm brain farting here. Love that kill. It's so memorable. Her breaking her leg, mocking Ghostface. I love it. Least favorite kill, I'm going to go with just one of the people who got shot or whatever happened in that scene when they're getting high. Just go with one of them. This movie's not about kills and least favorite kills and all that. I've said it all throughout this show. I disagree with Dustin. This is cinema, boys. This is some fine quality movies. It's hilarious. It's a comedy, and it does what it's trying to do. Be ridiculous and be funny. I give the movie an 8. It's funny.
My favorite kill, Carmen Electra stabbed before being run over by the parents. I thought that was hilarious. My least favorite kill, the teenager shot by Gale Hailstorm at the start of it. I gave the original a 7. I wish I could go back I gave the second one a 7. I wish I could go back and give it an 8.5. Listen, Mike talked about it some, but I'm not even talking about the spoof funny gags, but the writing ability that it takes to combine all of these movies into a story that actually makes sense. That's what separates these movies to me from, Naked Gun or Airplane or those sort of things, where it's like there's a lot of funny spoofs and gags, but the story itself all intertwines so good with combining all those movies. I think it's fantastic. I'm going to give this one an 8.25.
Okay. When I think, you mentioned it being cinema or not cinema, or a good movie or not a good movie. When I think of what a good movie is, I love all the normal Oscar movies too, right? Love Godfather Part 2 with all my heart. Top 3 movie for me. I get made fun of on this show, but I love Titanic as well. So my movie taste dips up and down with a lot of stuff. I love Shawshank Redemption. I like Forrest Gump. I'm all over the place, right? So what do I think of when I think of a comedy? One of my favorite comedies, American Pie. It's my favorite comedy of all. Actually, American Pie 2, which is kind of funny because you guys are Scary Movie 2 people. So I'm sure I can relate to that because I think American Pie 2 is better because I've seen it more.
Same.
So, yeah, I think it's a funnier film. However, this movie takes all of my favorite things about horror, that genre, and spoofs it to such a degree that I find it fucking hilarious. And I think some of these jokes, I know they don't age well, but man, they're still funny, and they put me back in a place in time. And Dustin will know the reference. This movie is straight up member berries for me, dude. Member? That is me with this movie. Is it a top tier film? No. However, we rate horror comedy off of enjoyability. And buddy, I enjoy the hell out of this movie. I gave this film a 9.75.
Okay. So that gives us a composite score of 8.375. And for some reference points, Internet Movie Database has it at a 6.3. Rotten Tomatoes has it at a 51%. And Letterboxd, since we're doing that now, 3.1. So we're a little higher, but that's okay. You like what you like.
That's right. I couldn't go full 10. I couldn't go 10. Because
I thought you were about to be honest with me. You said at the beginning, you said it was a perfect movie. I was like, hell yeah, do it.
I thought about it. It has a few little things that keep it from being a 10.
All right, I'm going to shout out our blood donors. I'm going to announce my pick for next week. Legendary blood donor Dana Tucker. We got 2 reviews left to do. Really appreciate it, Dana. Legendary blood donor Anita Russell. We're about to do her review next. Shout out to Anita. We appreciate it. Final girl donor Christina Tower. Excited for her review next week. And one more final girl donor, Jenny Conway, doing her pick in a couple weeks as well. Camper level reoccurring Nina, the Horror Movie Crew podcast, Alex Seligson, Steve Schmidt, Michelle Mirza, and Chris Manley. Camp Council reoccurring Edwin Hernandez Gunn, Joe Swinford, Adrian Aiello, Brian Samick, Andrew Ferguson, Brooke Maley, Heather Superdoc, Jennifer Davis from Too Close to Home Pod, Dana Tucker, Cole McAlexander, and Max K. Really appreciate y'all's contributions. It means a lot to us. It helps us out so much. We can't stress that enough. My pick for next week in Horror Comedy Month, taking us back to the logo, and by logo, I mean Brian's favorite, A24. Just kidding. I think he actually likes this one. This movie is so ridiculous, but I had such a good time with it. The ending I thought was amazing. I know Dustin hated it, but we are going to be reviewing Bodies.
I can't wait.
I'm excited. Let's go. I can't wait.
I didn't like the ending.
That's what I was saying. The ending. You didn't like the ending.
Okay.
You're the murderer. I knew it. All right, anyway, we appreciate y'all listening, and we'll be back next week with Bodies.
Just want to remind everybody,